That bag of cat food sitting in your pantry right now. Do you actually know what's inside it? Most cat owners assume that if a product is on a store shelf, it has been properly tested and approved. That assumption may not be as solid as it sounds, because when independent researchers, veterinary nutritionists, and food safety analysts started looking more closely at what goes into mass-market cat food, what they found raised some serious questions. Not every bag or can passes the same standards. Not every brand is as careful as its packaging suggests. And here's the part that matters most. Your cat cannot tell you when something is wrong. By the time symptoms show up, the damage may already be done. In the next several minutes, we're going to go through 7 cat food brands whose ingredient lists, sourcing practices, and quality control records have drawn scrutiny from researchers and pet nutrition advocates. And then, at the end, we'll cover 3 brands that consistently perform better in independent testing and transparency evaluations. Stay with us through the full video, because the brand at number 1 may genuinely surprise you. And it might be exactly what's currently sitting in your home. Let's start. Number 7, Ol' Roy. Ol' Roy is Walmart's store brand cat food, and it occupies an enormous amount of shelf space in one of the world's largest retail chains. The price point is hard to argue with on the surface. But when you start reading the label carefully, the concerns begin to stack up. The primary protein sources in many Ol' Roy formulas are listed as meat and bone meal, a rendered byproduct category that can include a wide and largely unspecified range of animal materials. The specific source animals are not always clearly identified. Independent pet food researchers have flagged this kind of vague ingredient labeling as a transparency problem, because it makes it difficult for pet owners to know what their cat is actually eating on a daily basis. Beyond the protein sourcing questions, several Ol' Roy formulas contain artificial colors. Red 40, Yellow 5, Yellow 6. These synthetic dyes serve no nutritional function whatsoever for cats. They exist purely for visual appeal to the human buyer. Some studies have associated certain artificial dyes with hypersensitivity reactions in animals, though research is still ongoing in this area. Corn is frequently listed as one of the first ingredients. Cats are obligate carnivores, meaning their digestive systems are designed around animal protein, not plant carbohydrates. High corn content in cat food has been associated with blood sugar irregularities and long-term metabolic concerns in some veterinary research, though individual responses vary. There are also no published third-party testing results for Ol' Roy that consumers can easily access. No verification of mycotoxin levels, no independent nutritional panel breakdowns, no sourcing certificates. For a product that millions of American cats consume every single day, that level of opacity is worth knowing about. Ol' Roy may work for some cats in the short term, but if you're looking at the long game, long-term organ health, immune function, coat quality, this is not typically among the formulas that veterinary nutritionists recommend. Number 6. Friskies. Friskies is one of the most recognizable cat food brands in the United States, and for decades it has been positioned as an affordable, everyday option. The brand has an enormous loyal following, and it's worth acknowledging that many cats have eaten Friskies their whole lives without dramatic incident that matters. But there are still ingredient questions worth examining. Friskies wet food formulas frequently list water and various gels, modified food starch, and carrageenan in their ingredient panels. Carrageenan is a seaweed-derived thickening agent used widely in food manufacturing. The concern, documented in several peer-reviewed studies, is that degraded carrageenan, a byproduct that can form in the digestive tract, has been associated with intestinal inflammation in animal models. The research is not fully settled, and regulatory agencies like the United States Food and Drug Administration still classify food-grade carrageenan as generally recognized as safe. However, a growing number of veterinary nutritionists and holistic pet health advocates have recommended choosing carrageenan-free options out of an abundance of caution. particularly for cats with sensitive stomachs or inflammatory bowel disease. Many Friskies dry food formulas also rely heavily on corn gluten meal and brewer's rice as primary ingredients. For obligate carnivores whose protein needs are specifically tied to animal-based amino acids like taurine, arginine, and arachidonic acid, plant-derived protein fillers are considered nutritionally inferior by many animal nutrition researchers. Friskies does not publish detailed sourcing information or third-party testing results publicly. Ingredient sourcing is described only at the broad category level. None of this means Friskies is dangerous in an acute or immediate sense. Purina, which manufactures Friskies, operates under standard regulatory frameworks and has faced recalls, as most large pet food manufacturers have at some point. The issue here is more about long-term nutritional optimization and transparency. If your cat is currently on Friskies and thriving, that's real information worth weighing. But if you're reconsidering your choices, there are options with cleaner ingredient panels available. Number 5. Mayo Mix. Mayo Mix is one of the most purchased cat food brands in America. The jingle is essentially hardwired into the American cultural brain at this point. And again, many cats eat it daily without visible distress. But let's look at the label. In most Mayo Mix dry formulas, the first ingredient is ground yellow corn. The second is corn gluten meal, then chicken byproduct meal, which is a rendered category that can include organs, feet, and other parts not typically consumed by humans. That's not automatically a problem. Organ meats can be nutritious for cats. But the lack of specificity and quality verification raises questions. The formula then continues with a sequence of additional corn derivatives, soy protein, and artificial flavors. The ingredient panel reads in places more like a processed food manufacturing list than a meal designed around the biological needs of a carnivore. Artificial colors appear in Mayo Mix products as well. As mentioned with other brands, these serve no nutritional function for cats. Independent testing has found some corn-heavy cat foods contain detectable levels of mycotoxins, toxic compounds, produced by molds that can colonize stored grain. Mayo Mix does not publish mycotoxin testing results for its formulas. The taurine content of Mayo Mix meets minimums set by the Association of American Feed Control Officials, which is an important baseline. Taurine deficiency in cats is linked to serious heart conditions. Meeting the minimum threshold is not the same as optimizing for health, but it is a regulatory floor that the product does clear. What Mayo Mix represents nutritionally is a product built around cost efficiency. That is a legitimate business model, but for a cat owner who is thinking about kidney health, immune support, and longevity, it is not the top choice that most board-certified veterinary nutritionists would reach for. Number 4. 9 Lives. 9 Lives has been part of American grocery stores since 1959, which is a remarkable run. The brand has gone through various ownership changes over the decades and is currently produced by Big Heart Pet Brands. The wet food varieties of 9 Lives follow a pattern that will sound familiar by now: water sufficient for processing, meat byproducts, liver, and a long list of gums, starches, and stabilizers. The specific gums used include gar gum and xanthan gum. These are generally recognized as safe, but they contribute bulk and texture rather than nutrition. The meat byproducts category in 9 Lives, similar to other brands, is not further specified on most labels. The protein quality from unspecified byproduct sources is considered lower by animal nutrition researchers compared to named whole protein sources like chicken, salmon, or turkey. Several 9 Lives formulas contain carrageenan. As discussed earlier, the research on carrageenan and gastrointestinal inflammation in cats is still developing, but enough veterinary practitioners have flagged it that its presence in a formula is considered a point worth noting for cautious consumers. The brand has had recall events in its history, though this is true of many major pet food producers. In 2012, 9 Lives was part of a voluntary recall related to elevated vitamin D levels, which at excessive concentrations can contribute to kidney problems in cats. 9 Lives operates within regulatory guidelines. There is nothing in the product that is categorically prohibited, but the combination of unspecified byproducts, carrageenan high filler content, and limited transparency about sourcing and testing means it is not typically in the top tier of recommendations from veterinary nutritionists working in feline health. Number 3. Whiskas. Whiskas is a globally distributed brand owned by Mars Pet Care, one of the largest pet food companies in the world. In the United States, Whiskas is a familiar presence in grocery stores with brightly colored packaging and marketing that emphasizes palatability and cat appeal. Let's start with what's working. Whiskas wet formulas are reasonably high in moisture, which is genuinely relevant for cats. Cats evolved as desert animals and have a naturally low thirst drive, making hydration through food important for kidney health. The moisture content in Whiskas wet food is a legitimate benefit. Now, the concerns. Many Whiskas dry food varieties list corn gluten meal, and wheat among the first ingredients, placing plant carbohydrates ahead of animal proteins in a product designed for obligate carnivores. The chicken content, while present, is often preceded by these grain sources in the ingredient hierarchy. Whiskas products commonly contain artificial flavors and, in some formulas, artificial colors. The dyes listed in some Whiskas varieties, Blue 2, Yellow 5, Yellow 6, have no nutritional function for cats. Mars Pet Care has faced quality control scrutiny over the years. In 2009, a significant Mars Pet Care recall affected a wide range of products, including some Whiskas formulas due to potential aflatoxin contamination. Aflatoxins are mycotoxins produced by mold that can cause liver damage. The recall was voluntary and handled through established channels, but it illustrates the systemic risk that large-scale grain-heavy manufacturing carries. Whiskas does not publish detailed third-party testing data publicly. Sourcing information is provided only at a general level. For the budget range it occupies, Whiskas is not alone in these characteristics. But if you're looking for a formulation with greater protein specificity, lower filler content, and published quality verification, there are alternatives worth exploring. Number 2. Purina Cat Chow. This one requires some careful framing because Purina as a company also makes products that rank among the more trusted options in the pet food space, which we'll get to shortly. But Purina Cat Chow, the core budget line, tells a different story. Cat Chow's ingredient panels are primarily grain-forward. The first ingredient in many cat chow formulas is ground yellow corn. Poultry byproduct meal follows, then corn gluten meal, then soybean meal. This is an ingredient hierarchy built around grain-derived protein and carbohydrate filler rather than whole animal protein. The poultry byproduct meal designation, while legal and regulated, encompasses a broad range of rendered materials. The lack of species and source specificity is a common criticism from animal nutrition researchers. Cat chow formulas contain a range of artificial preservatives in some varieties, including ethoxyquin and BHA. Ethoxyquin is a synthetic antioxidant that was originally developed as a pesticide. Its use in pet food has been contentious for years, with some studies raising questions about long-term safety at certain exposure levels. Though the United States Food and Drug Administration has not issued a ban on its use in pet food at currently permitted levels. BHA, or butylated hydroxyanisole, is similarly classified as generally recognized as safe, but has drawn scrutiny in toxicology research. The mineral profile in cat chow shows heavy reliance on oxide forms of minerals, zinc oxide, copper oxide, which are considered to have lower bioavailability compared to chelated or amino acid-bound mineral forms. Lower bioavailability means your cat's body absorbs less of what the label claims is present. Purina Cat Chow is not a product without regulatory compliance. It meets minimum standards. What it does not do is optimize for the kind of nutritional density and ingredient transparency that veterinary nutritionists increasingly point to as markers of quality. For budget-constrained households, understanding these trade-offs is important. This is information, not a verdict. Number 1. Special Kitty. Special Kitty is Walmart's other cat food line, distinct from Ol' Roy and it consistently appears at or near the bottom of independent pet food quality analysis. The ingredient profiles across Special Kitty's dry and wet formulas raise multiple simultaneous concerns. Meat and bone meal from unspecified animal sources, corn and corn byproducts as primary carbohydrate fillers, artificial colors, artificial flavors, and in some varieties, propylene glycol. Propylene glycol deserves specific attention. It is a synthetic compound used as a moisture-retaining agent. The United States Food and Drug Administration has prohibited the use of propylene glycol in cat food, specifically because it can cause Heinz body anemia in cats, a condition involving the destruction of red blood cells. While FDA enforcement on this varies by product category, and the compound remains permitted in dog food, its presence in any formulation marketed toward cats is a serious flagging point. Special Kitty products have been subject to multiple consumer complaints regarding inconsistent texture, unusual odors, and digestive upset in cats. Independent pet food review databases that aggregate veterinary and consumer feedback consistently rank Special Kitty among the lowest scoring mainstream brands in the American market. The pricing is extremely low. That pricing is achieved somewhere, and the ingredient quality documentation, the sourcing transparency, and the testing infrastructure reflect where cost reductions have been made. Special Kitty may be the only financially accessible option for some households, and that is a real constraint that deserves honest acknowledgement rather than judgment. But for any cat owner who has flexibility in their food budget, this brand would not typically be among the first recommendations from feline health specialists. Now, let's talk about the 3 brands that consistently perform better. The brands we just covered share a pattern: vague protein sourcing, heavy plant-based filler content, limited third-party testing transparency, and ingredient choices that raise questions from a feline nutritional biology standpoint. The 3 brands below take measurably different approaches. The first is Nom Nom, also known as Nom Nom Now. Nom Nom operates in the fresh and lightly cooked pet food space, and it's one of the more rigorously transparent options available in the American market. The brand publishes detailed nutritional analysis for each of its recipes, developed in collaboration with board-certified veterinary nutritionists. Recipes are built around whole, named protein sources, chicken, beef, pork, with no rendered byproducts, no artificial preservatives, and no artificial colors or flavors. Nom Nom conducts batch testing for pathogens and publishes data on its website. The company uses human-grade ingredients, meaning the raw materials meet standards for human food manufacturing before being formulated into pet food. This is a more stringent input quality standard than conventional pet food ingredients require. The product is delivered fresh or gently cooked and requires refrigeration, which is a logistical adjustment. It is also priced above the mass market range. But for cat owners who have been looking for a formulation with genuine protein, first construction, and accessible third-party verification, Nom Nom is consistently cited by veterinary nutrition professionals as a well-constructed option. The second is Weruva. Weruva is a brand that has built a strong reputation in the premium wet cat food segment. Its formulas center on human-grade proteins, including Pacific tuna, chicken breast, and wild-caught salmon, prepared in a facility that also handles human food. The supply chain traceability is more detailed than most mainstream brands. Weruva products are free of carrageenan across their core lines, which has made them a frequent recommendation for cats with gastrointestinal sensitivity. The protein content in Weruva formulas is high and clearly specified. You know what animal the protein came from and what part of the animal contributed to the meal. The brand uses minimal starch and thickener, relying on natural gelatin from the cooking process rather than added gums to achieve texture. Artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives are absent. Independent pet food analysts who evaluate ingredient quality consistently place Weruva in the upper tier for wet cat food. The price point is higher than mass market brands. But the nutritional density and ingredient transparency represent a genuinely different value proposition than what the lower-priced formulas deliver. The third is Purina Pro Plan. This one merits emphasis because it's the same parent company as CatCho, and the contrast between the two product lines illustrates something important about how pet food companies operate. Purina Pro Plan is developed with significantly more input from board-certified veterinary nutritionists. It is one of a small number of pet food brands with long-term feeding studies published in peer-reviewed research supporting its nutritional claims. Named animal proteins, chicken, salmon, turkey, lead the ingredient lists in most Pro Plan formulas. Purina Pro Plan is available in veterinary clinics, specialty pet stores, and major retailers, and it has broad veterinary endorsement. The brand offers formulas specifically designed for life stage and health condition management, kidney support, weight management, urinary tract health, with formulations that have research support behind the claims. The price is moderate compared to fresh meal delivery services, but higher than store brand options. It represents a mid-range entry point for cat owners seeking something with a stronger nutritional research foundation. What makes Purina Pro Plan noteworthy in this context is the transparency gap between it and CatCho. Despite sharing a parent company, Pro Plan has published research backing. CatCho does not. That distinction reflects real investment differences in ingredient quality and nutritional development, and it's worth understanding. Here is the bigger picture before we close. Cat food labeling in the United States is regulated by the Association of American Feed Control officials in conjunction with the Food and Drug Administration and state feed control authorities. These regulations set minimum standards, but minimum is the operative word. A product can meet every regulatory requirement and still be significantly inferior in nutritional quality to products that exceed those requirements voluntarily. The best performing cat food brands tend to share a few characteristics. Name protein sources at the top of the ingredient list. Limited or no plant-based filler content. No artificial colors or flavors. Published third-party testing results. Formulation involvement from credentialed veterinary nutritionists, and some level of production transparency regarding sourcing and manufacturing oversight. None of the 7 brands discussed earlier are categorically dangerous in an acute, immediate sense under normal regulatory compliance. But the differences in ingredient quality, nutritional density, and sourcing transparency between the lower tier and the upper tier of the cat food market are real, documented, and increasingly understood by the veterinary community. Your cat eats the same food every single day. Over the course of years, the quality of that daily nutrition accumulates, for better or worse, into measurable health outcomes. Kidney function, immune response, coat condition, digestive stability, weight management, dental health, and long-term energy levels all have nutritional roots. Understanding what is in the bag or can, not just the brand name on the front, but the actual ingredient hierarchy, the sourcing practices, and the testing standards, is one of the most practical things a cat owner can do for their pet's long-term health. That information exists. It's on the label. It's in independent testing databases. It's in the research literature. You now have a framework for reading it. If this video helped clarify something you've been wondering about, hit the like button and subscribe for more content that breaks down what's actually inside the products we use every day. Drop a comment and let us know which brand was on your shelf right now when you started watching, and which one are you reconsidering? Your cat can't make this decision. You can.